We are minutes away from the first of 40 live games on Premiership Plus this season. Chelsea obviously starting as the favourites. What have Newcastle got to do if they're to end this London hoodoo?
I think they must keep a clean sheet first and foremost, and I find that's going to be very, very difficult. I just can't see them keeping a clean sheet against this type of forward play from Chelsea. Not only Hasselbank and Zola, but the midfield. And I think actually Chelsea will win 2-0. 2-0.
You're not really offering a lot of hope for Geordie supporters out there, George?
Well, as Bobby said, he's not got his strongest team out, and the inexperience up front, they're definitely missing Alan Shearer. They need him back as quickly as possible. And with the inexperience of Bellamy and Ami Obel, I just can't see them scoring. And I think Chelsea, usually your first few games of the season, you always want to get the result. You know, the forum and the goals will come later. So if they can pick up a goal or two and win by the odd goal, Chelsea will be delighted.
OK, well, more from George at half-time. It's going to be a very tough start to the season for Newcastle. Are they up to the challenge, or will the new-look Chelsea get off to a flying start? Our match commentators in West London this afternoon are Brian Marwood and Alan Parry.
Welcome to Stamford Bridge for the start of a new season and a new era for televised football as Chelsea take on Newcastle United. It's turned into a beautiful day here in West London after a morning of heavy rain, and Chelsea's reconstructed stadium looking quite magnificent. The new West Stand in full use for the first time today, giving an additional 11,000 seats, and that takes the capacity up to 42,000. Today's full house means that this is Chelsea's biggest home gate for 15 years. Well, Chelsea have also continued their rebuilding process on the field. They spent £32 million buying 4 new players during the summer. 3 of them will start today: Frank Lampard, Emmanuel Petit and Boudouin Zenden, with William Gallas on the bench. Newcastle United also have their own new man in French international Laurent Robert, but Bobby Robson's team has been badly hit by injuries today. They're without Alan Shearer, Carl Cord, Kieran Dyer, Gary Speed, and in addition Alberto Solano isn't available, having only just returned from international duty with Peru. We'll give you the confirmed lineups in just a moment. In many ways, this the best day of the season. The players are fit and raring to go. The supporters are full of optimism, and even the managers are sleeping easily in their beds at night. But it'll all change, of course. Only a handful of clubs can be successful, but this is the time of year when you have to believe that your club will be one of them. Certainly you need to go back a very long way to find the last time that either Chelsea or Newcastle won the ultimate prize. Chelsea's one and only league championship came 46 years ago, and Newcastle haven't won the title for 74 years. But as everyone in football knows, these are both major clubs with enormous support, and they're both capable of winning trophies again one day. The big question is, how soon? A delayed kickoff here because something went wrong with the turnstile operation in the new, and thousands of fans were stranded outside at the original kickoff time. And the man who runs everything here at Stamford Bridge must be very proud of the way this stadium has changed in such a short space of time. Really less than 10 years to transform the stadium into one of the best in the land, one of the best in Europe. Can they do likewise with the team?
Come on, lads, let's go, eh?
The sun shines as Chelsea and Newcastle United take the field for their opening Premiership match of a new season. And time to introduce those teams to you. 3 new faces in the Chelsea lineup, a new pairing in the centre of midfield. World Cup winner Emmanuel Petit has arrived from Barcelona, and England international Frank Lampard from West Ham And Dutchman Boudouin Zenden, also signed from Barcelona, will play on the left of midfield. The powerful and talented combination of Gianfranco Zola and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank are up front. And Brian Marwood, even some impressive names on the Chelsea subs bench today.
Well, there's a lot of competition to get into this Chelsea side, and really these are the 11 that Claudio Ranieri has decided to go for, and almost 4-4-2. You can see a very experienced back four of Melchior Desailly, John Terry and Graham Lasso. But it's really that front six really that's likely to excite you. In wide areas they've got a lot of pace. Gronkiar on the right-hand side, Zenden on the left. We saw Zenden's performance for Holland against England midweek. He was exceptional. Lampard will look to get forward from midfield. I'm sure that Petit will perhaps play more of a holding role. Zola, well, that'll be a problem for Newcastle. Do they go in tight? Because he'll play just off the front. And Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, 26 goals last season. He really will be the main threat.
Well, the Frenchman Laurent Robert, signed for £10 million almost from Paris Saint-Germain, is one of two newcomers in Newcastle's lineup. The other left-back, Robbie Elliott, now back at the club. He left for Bolton Wanderers 4 years ago. But as I mentioned, injuries have ruled out Shearer, Court, Dyer and Speed, and Solano wasn't considered after playing for his country, Peru, in a World Cup qualifier against Colombia. He scored the winning goal, in fact. So, Brian, very much an understrength Newcastle lineup.
Well, you've already mentioned it, Alan, but they really are short of almost half a team. Solano, Speed, Shearer, Court, Dyer, probably likely to be regulars in this Bobby Robson's lineup, but as it happens, he's gone with this 11, and Barton, Dabizaz, Hughes and Elliott, I think that are going to have to defend very well indeed, because they are going to be put under a lot of pressure. Robert Lee in midfield, going to have to show all his experience. Acuna will almost just have to sit and almost just allow Basidaz and Robert to try and get forward whenever possible. Robert, who had a very good debut, promising against Atletico Bilbao last week in Rob Lee's testimonial. It's a front two, a lot of really not an awful lot of experience, Bellamy and Amiobi, but a lot is going to be asked of these two youngsters, especially Amiobi. He's going to really have to try and hold the ball up and give Newcastle a platform to play from.
But it was here at Stamford Bridge that Bobby Robson had his first game as Newcastle's manager almost 2 years ago. Chelsea won 1-0 that day. All set to go then. Newcastle United in the black and white stripes. Chelsea all in blue. Chelsea, who finished 6th in the Premiership last season, 5 places and 10 points ahead of Newcastle. Both clubs with their sights set on Europe for the new campaign. Chelsea go into Friday's draw for the first round of the UEFA Cup. Newcastle will join them in the hat if they beat the French club Troyes at St James's Park on Tuesday night. An early touch for Shay Given in the Newcastle goal, and the visitors here very aware of their dreadful record in London. They haven't won in the capital on their last 24 visits, would you believe? Zenden, who could well have been appearing in the black and white stripes of Newcastle. A well-publicised story that Bobby Robson tried to sign him and was very disappointed in the end, but he went to Chelsea. But he's got Laurent Robert instead, and he's very pleased with his new acquisition. Difficult first clearance for Ed Dohoy, who's playing despite a calf injury. The first-choice goalkeeper, the youngster Cudicini, had a cartilage operation during the summer. They expect him to play his first reserve game in midweek. An early test for Desailly, who was being fouled by Shola Amiobi, who only made the Newcastle lineup the last minute today. He has an injury problem, a groin, and he hasn't trained all week, but with the shortage of other strikers like Shearer and Court, he more or less had to play. And a first test at the other end for Newcastle's central defensive partnership. And possibly now for Warren Barton, as Zenden takes him on down the left. Good ball back in as well. Hughes getting it clear for Newcastle. A juddering challenge has brought no free kick from today's referee, who is Andy Durso, but it has brought an injury straight away for a team that can ill afford to have any more injury problems.
Well, certainly that ball was a long time up in the air, and Bazidas really just on the edge of the box, and Graham Lasso almost fly kick against the Newcastle midfield player. And well, Bobby Robson coming into this game with lots of injury problems. Last thing he'll need is, after a couple of minutes, another problem, this time to one of his key midfield players.
Bobby Robson believing that his team can have a good season as long as they can overcome all these injuries. He's back on the training field as well these days at the age of 68. Mick Wadsworth having left as first team coach, of course, during the summer, and John Carver has moved up to replace him. I say that's okay to continue.
One thing Newcastle have had, Alan, is that the benefit of some very meaningful games pre-season. People have certainly demised the fact of the Intertoto, but it has given good competition for Newcastle.
Barton looking for Bellamy with the long ball. Lasso heads it clear, picked up by Amiobi. Now Bellamy, the Welsh international, feeds Warren Barton. And a foul by Barton. Just caught the ankles of Emmanuel Petit. Newcastle have finished in the top 6 of the Premiership in each of the last 5 seasons. They were 6th last season, which was their lowest position for 4 years. Ed De Hoy will bowl it out to Graham Lasso, who missed over 3 months of the last campaign with various injuries. Looking for Zenden down that left-hand side, and another free kick for a foul on the Dutch international, who came off injured in victory over England at White Hart Lane on Wednesday, and wasn't too pleased with the challenge by Liverpool's Jamie Carragher, but he has recovered to play, and Zola caught offside here.
Well, certainly Newcastle setting their stall out not to defend too deep, and that's very important, I feel, today, because we talked about the pace that Chelsea do possess, a very clever play of the likes of Zola, Hasselbank's pace up front, so it's important they really do get close to Chelsea whenever possible and close them down.
Well, that was almost an untidy ball from Davizas. Shay Given didn't really appreciate it, especially with Emmanuel Petit breathing down his neck, and the Frenchman in possession again. Now Gronkiar. The layoff by Lampard. This is Mario Melchior, who also played for Holland against England. So too did Hasselbank as a substitute. His foul there on Elliott gives Newcastle a free kick.
At the moment, we've already seen, what, 4 or 5 times the referee has been quick to blow his whistle. It's really not allowing the game to get into any flow or rhythm.
Bellamy doing his best, despite being physically overpowered there by Melchior and Desai. Hasselbank's header loose, straight to Barton. That wasn't a bad ball in the end by Barton. And the cross dangerous. John Terry came to meet it.
Well, it wasn't just dangerous, it's a superb cross from Robert on this left-hand side. Great pick from Warren Barton. He really did flash that across the face of the goal.
Decent long throw as well by Robert. So for Chelsea with the clearance. But Newcastle, for all their problems, have made a confident start here.
Yeah, I think Bobby Robson will be absolutely delighted if he can get the ball out of this fella. He does possess a lot of pace. He's come with a very good reputation indeed.
Elliott back now, playing of course for his hometown club. And Robert back to Davizas. Barton in space on the right-hand side. Warren Barton now in his 13th season in professional football, 7 of them with Newcastle. Looking for Becerras down the right. Zenden there to win it back for Chelsea. So's clearance found Petit.
There's one thing I'm sure Bobby Robson has been telling his players beforehand is this is a new group of players that Chelsea have. It's going to take them some time to get into some shape, some rhythm. And, well, this may be a good time to play them at the moment.
Newcastle actually went top in the early weeks of last season after winning 3 of their first 4 games, but faded away, of course, to 13th in the end. Challenged by Desai, the layoff by Acuna. Now Robert with a chance to hit it. He mishit it in the end. Petit. Got Gronkiar to the right. Hasselbank ahead of him. And Hasselbank gets in behind the last defender's challenge. He needs help here. Zola was the only man arriving, and he's earned the first corner of the game for Chelsea.
Well, this is where Newcastle are going to have to be careful, because one moment they're attacking, they throw a lot of players forward, and then Chelsea break. And we talked about the pace they possess. It's a wonderful ball from Petit, and they could see the benefit of having that pace. Hasselbank.
Physically big side, Chelsea. Desai goes to the near post. No shot on the back post. Hasselbank as well in the middle. It's gone short to Zola. The pull back to Zenden. Equally good on left or right. And he proves it. Oh, it's gone in! What a mistake by Shay Given. And Zenden, on his debut, gives Chelsea the lead. Only 8 minutes gone.
Well, you've got to say that's down to one man, and that's Shay Given. What a real tragedy. He has been one of Newcastle's best players over the last 12 months. And Zenden, there's not an awful really here that you think there's going to be too much danger. You think the goalkeeper's just going to claim it comfortably. You know, almost it's straight at him. He gets a fairly good sight of it, and then it's out of his hands. And before you know it, it's in the back of the net. And Chelsea, well, they haven't really threatened. I think that's the first thing that Shay Given has had to do. He really has not made a particularly good job of it.
Well, what a horror moment for the Newcastle goalkeeper and for Bobby Robson. He didn't want to see his side go behind at all, but I guess if he could have picked one player who he wouldn't have wanted to score the goal, it's the man who he jokingly threatened to throttle during the summer, Zenden, who indicated for a long period that he was going to go to St James's Park, then changed his mind and came to Chelsea instead. How ironic that he should get the goal.
That was amazing, really, because Chelsea are just really struggling to get to grips with this game. But, you know, whenever you make your debut, from a playing point of view, you're always looking for something, hopefully, that will spark a good performance. And, well, Zenden, what a start after 9 minutes. What a great shame for Shay Given. But Newcastle are going to have to take that on the chin. They've had a lot of disappointments, really, notably with injuries in recent weeks. They had started reasonably well. It's a big setback for them.
Laurent Robert is backing away as though he intends to have a shot on target here, even though it must be all of 35 to 40 yards from goal. Here he comes. Straight along the ground. No power. Hasselbank's clearance. And Chelsea straight back on the attack with Gronkia. And he's done well. Barton covered superbly there for Newcastle and was fouled by the Chelsea player. Takes the free kick instantly.
Well, Newcastle are going to have to keep their discipline, Alan. They can't afford to go and chase lost causes at the moment. Yeah, they've conceded a goal. It is a disappointment, but they're going to have to stay focused, because if they do lose their shape, we talked already about the pace of Chelsea, and see the disappointment of their manager. What a massive blow that is.
And Bobby Robson first led his boyhood heroes, Newcastle, in a match. It was here at the Bridge a couple of years ago. They lost 1-0 that day. Dabizas with the ball over the top, looking for Bellamy, headed clear by Terry. Robert regains possession for Newcastle. Elliott. This is Acuna. And that's a free kick. And Robert might fancy it again here. The foul on Bacedas.
Certainly his sort of territory. It's a good 25 yards. We talked about Newcastle maintaining their focus. This is something really that Chelsea are going to have to do. Got that opening goal. They know Newcastle will try and push them back now, and it will allow chances for the home side.
Robert and Elliott, the two potential takers here, as Ed Dohoy lines up the Chelsea defensive wall. Dabizas complaining the wall's not far enough away. That's a decoy, I think, for Robert to hit it, and Dohoy made a little bit of a mess of that and got away with it, unlike Shay Given moments earlier.
Well, it's like a bar of soap for both goalkeepers at the moment. One hand that has cost Newcastle a goal and very nearly cost Chelsea a goal. That should have been a very safe claim for Ed Dohoy. He's very fortunate indeed.
Marcel Desailly clears the corner. Played back in by Rob Lee towards Shola Amiobi, but too deep. Goal kick.
Well, in defence of both goalkeepers, there was a tremendous amount of rain that's fallen in these parts this morning. And, I know, just watching Ed de Hoy warming up, he had problems with his footing. There, he's certainly having problems with his handling. But
yes, they have one of these new style pitches at Stamford Bridge, which is basically plastic underneath the top surface. The plastic intended to maintain the roots, make sure they don't get kicked out. But what it does do is make it very hard surface, and on a day when there's been so much rain, therefore it becomes very slippery on top. So I'm sure it will last the course of the winter well, but on a day like this, it's playing a little bit trickily. Newcastle have already had 5 competitive matches this season. In the Intertoto Cup, they won 4, drew 1, and as I mentioned, they played Troyes on Tuesday night in the final of that Intertoto. 0-0 in the first leg in France, and if they get through there, they will be in this season's UEFA Cup, and that means a lot of money to the football club. Chelsea, remember, are already in that competition and already leading here with a free kick in a dangerous position. Zola over the ball for them. Kills it into the danger area. Oh, well, I tell you what, he might have been entirely responsible for Newcastle conceding, but that was a miraculous piece of goalkeeping by Shay Given to prevent Chelsea going 2-up.
well, that's a fantastic free kick in the shape that it came through a lot of bodies, and really Shay Given is just trying to read the situation. It's John Terry at the far post that sticks out a foot. He thinks he scored, and Shay Given just throwing his body across the face of the goal does enough, and well, that certainly will restore some sort of confidence.
Well, he did with his feet what he couldn't do properly with his hands. Lee winning it back. Barton on the right for Newcastle. Robert on the left, and it's a great ball by Rob Lee to pick him out, and that's a corner off Melchior.
Well, that's what, 2-3 occasions now where they've hit that diagonal ball. Melchior, whether he's covering a little bit too far around his centre-halves, but Robert, you can see he's very intent on getting the ball in very early into the box.
That is asked forward for the corner, and the OB near the penalty spot. Acuna was a player who nearly made contact, but there's a break on here. Zenden for Chelsea. It's 3 against 3 at the moment. Zola, Gronkiar to his right. Good tackle by Warren Barton. When they talk about covering well, there's a prime example, and it's a great ball for Bellamy. De Hoy just did enough.
Well, that was fantastic, Warren Barton. Not only did he have a superb interception, really, when the danger was certainly against this Newcastle back four, but wonderful timing, and then really having the ability to come out of the defence and spotting Craig Bellamy with a fantastic ball. You've got to say he ought to have scored, and De Hoy just gets enough on it.
Well, if Barton hadn't have got that right, there was a fair chance it would have been 2-0. As it happened, it almost became 1-1. De Hoy with the punch clear. Acuna plays it back into the crowd. Hasselbank beaten to the header. Petit gets it clear, and now Hasselbank with a much better clearance. Gronkiar. Good tackle.
We've got to say at the moment, Chelsea don't really look that comfortable with their system. We know that Claudio Ranieri may well change the system to 3 centre-halves at some stage this afternoon, but
here they go again. Gronkiar, Zola in the middle. It's gone beyond him. Zenden hit it into the ground, and that took all the power away from the shot. Well, it's a good open game, that's for sure. Nothing cautious about the first quarter of an hour here at Stamford Bridge, far from it. Amiobi's header. Bellamy got away from Terry. Support arriving from the midfield. But he got caught in 2 minds, really.
well, John Terry's got a real problem as he came to make that challenge against Craig Bellamy. He certainly missed it. Bellamy was very elusive indeed, just nicked the ball away from England under-21 centre-half John Terry. May well have just done some damage there. It's
been
Chelsea.
an incredible year, sorry Brian, for Terry. I was just going to say a year ago he hadn't even appeared in the Premiership. Now he's regular for the England under-21 team, and he has so much confidence, Ranieri, in the young centre-half, that he sold Frank Leboeuf during the summer.
Well, I'll be disappointed if they do have to lose him, because he came into the side towards the end of last season, and Ranieri must have been absolutely delighted with him. But there you can see the challenge on Bellamy. Bellamy very quick indeed to just knock the ball into space behind, but Newcastle couldn't benefit from that break.
Terry continues to receive treatment as the game continues. They haven't got a central defender on the substitutes bench, Chelsea, though Gallas, the other new signing who didn't make the starting lineup today, can play there. He's really a right back, but he can also play on the right in the centre of defence, so maybe that's what they'll do if Terry can't continue. We'll wait and see.
Well, he's up moving around, and manager perhaps less anxious as he was 2 or 3 minutes ago.
So clears under pressure from Warren Barton, who's made an excellent start down the right for Newcastle. John Terry back on the field now. Elliott with a long ball over the head of Amiobi. Well, I tell you what, Bellamy never shirks the physical challenge. There'll be a few who'd have a look at Marcel Desailly and think, that's your ball, pal, but he didn't.
Well, you've got to say, other than that slip, it's allowed Chelsea to be ahead in this game. I think Newcastle have acclimatised themselves very well to this game. I think that really Chelsea have struggled to get any sort of rhythm. You can see they're struggling to get their shape, and when Newcastle certainly get the ball wide, in particular to Robert, they have been a threat.
Chelsea had 8 pre-season fixtures, winning 5, drawing 2, losing just 1 against Queen's Park Rangers. Barton for Newcastle. Now he tries the first-time ball. Robert coming in round the back, but Melchiot in control of that goal kick.
Well, we could certainly have another look at the goal from Zenden, and what a great shame this was to Newcastle's game plan. They came into this game with lots of injuries and not an awful lot of luck, and that bad luck certainly continued once more. Shea Given, with his experience and his know-how, you would have expected him to take that fairly comfortably, but what a start for Zenden and what a start for Chelsea.
Lovely skill from Zola, although he was a little bit lucky in the end. Now he's given away possession. Lasso with the interception. Hasselbank makes an early run and has the strength to hold off the challenge, but in fact the referee deciding that Dabizas had committed a foul anyway.
It's an interesting battle between those two, because Dabizas has stayed very tight indeed to Hasselbank.
Petit, Lampard, the 2 new men in the heart of Chelsea's midfield. They spent £32 million on their new players in the summer, recoup £8 million by moving on Wise, Poyet, Leboeuf, Lombard and Harley. And Claudio Ranieri admitting it's going to take a while for this new look team to settle.
That's exactly what's happening at the moment, Alan, because they really have struggled to get the grips with this game. You would have expected them to have played with a little bit more fluency than what we've seen for them so far.
Robley for Newcastle. Got that one wrong. Straight to Gronkia. Zola and Hasselbank ahead of him. Oh, what skill. Forced to check, but still going strong. And wins the corner. Great play by Gronkia.
Good ability, but that's the benefit of having pace in those wide areas. We've seen it from Zenden on the left, and Gronkia on this right-hand side. First time we've really seen him have a run at Robbie Elliott.
Desai waiting to time his run into the Newcastle box. There he goes now. It's gone beyond him to Terry. Now Desai with the header down. Good skill by Lampard, but it was just too congested for him in there. And Hasselbank was offside when the ball came back in.
Certainly have expected Newcastle perhaps to go a little bit closer to one or two players, especially on the edge of the box. Frank Lampard having a little bit too much time. But once again, Newcastle just popping little passes around, again trying to build some confidence.
Midway through the first half of the first game of the season at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea lead 1-0 with a goal by Zenden. Zola. And the width in this Chelsea team is causing Newcastle problems. Here's the young Dane Gronkiar again. Hasselbank. On to Lampard. Gronkiar. Too strong for Petit, but Zenden collects anyway. Lasso overlaps for him. Tried to play it into the feet of Hasselbank. Newcastle can't get out quick enough. Bellamy. Barton. It's a disappointing ball.
Well, at the moment, Newcastle really just trying to allow Robert to float around a little bit, get him in the game. He's had a couple of promising moves on this left-hand side, and he's gone to join Amiobi at times and almost play with a front three with Bellamy.
Zola. Lampard back to Terry. Desai. Zender sent spinning, and the referee, in fact, I think, will reach for the notebook for Rob Lee, who's going to become the first player caution.
Well, I think Rob Lee feels as if he's been hard done by here. The tackle was late. Perhaps he was claiming that that was his first tackle. But Andy D'Urso's having none of it. Very quick to put the Newcastle skipper into his notebook.
Lee, who recently had his testimonial, of course, against Athletic Bilbao. Joined Newcastle from Charlton 9 years ago. Had a knee operation during the summer. The first operation of his career, and that's quite something, really, in the modern game. I don't know how he's got away with it for so long. Incidentally, Gary Speed was telling me before the kick-off, this is the first time in his entire career he's missed an opening day fixture. What a proud record that is. He has a hamstring problem, though he and Bobby Robson expect him to be fit for that Intertoto game against Troyes on Tuesday night, and Solano will definitely be available for that. He's back now from South America. Change on the way here for Chelsea, and obviously the early injury to Terry has taken its toll. And as he goes off, the fourth member of the Chelsea Newcomers Club comes on. As I expected, William Gallas, former French under-21 player, signed from Marseille for £6 million, replaces Terry. Elkiot's throw, and there was an offence there, spotted by the linesman, so that's a free kick to Newcastle.
Well, it'll be nice to see if Ranieri does too much of a formation reshuffle. If Gallas will just play really where John Terry was, and they'll still stay with four at the back for the time being. But the Chelsea coach will be a little bit disappointed that his side have failed to build on what was the perfect start for them in many ways.
Barton on to Bellamy. The layoff a bit loose, enabling Petit to make the interception. Chelsea end up getting a free kick. Chelsea, who were prolific scorers last season, 68 goals they got in their 38 Premiership matches. Only Manchester United and Liverpool scored more, but if there's hope in those statistics for Newcastle United today, let me tell you that they also conceded 45 goals, which was one of the worst totals in the top half of the table. Zenden, brilliant trick, and dragged down. The referee might reach for another yellow card here. He just left Hughes for dead with the little Johan Cruyff turn, I suppose you could call it.
Oh, this is magical, really, isn't it? This is what a lot of people have paid their money to watch this season, with Zenden and really Aaron Hughes there, showing his inexperience, getting too close to the Dutch international.
So Newcastle have 2 players booked in quick succession, Rob Lee and now Aaron Hughes. Whole crowd of players near the penalty spot. Comes back to Hasselbank. Desailly almost got a touch on it, given reacted well.
That's 2 or 3 occasions where Newcastle haven't defended particularly well from either corners or free kicks. One of the chances that John Terry had.
Bellamy being pulled back here, he was offside, right?
Well, the chance that they had from a free kick from Zola earlier, and this is another chance that very nearly Desailly got a final touch to. Newcastle got to be a little bit more dominant from those set pieces.
Chelsea are unbeaten in their last 6 games against Newcastle, winning 4 of them home and away, and undefeated in the last 9 here at Stamford Bridge. But in fact, Newcastle have won only twice in their last 36 visits. Well, as usual, if there's a Premiership match on, Sven will be there, and he is. Petit, Lampard, Gronkia. Lampard beaten to the challenge, fortunate to get it back. Melchior. Hasselbank with the flick on from Melchior's throw. Lasso. Zenden, brave as well as talented. Zola. Lasso on the left touchline still. And he's done well. Petit.
That was a great idea. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank just acknowledging Petit, just trying to slot that ball between the 2 centre-halves.
Hasselbank making a nuisance of himself as ever. Zola. That's a beautiful ball for Zenden. Hasselbank still in the middle. There he is. He missed it completely. What a ball from Zola.
Well, Newcastle really created their own problems there. Didn't really clear the ball effectively enough, and there you can see 6s and 7s. Great perception from Zola, and there you can see Zenden trying to find Hasselbank, but unfortunately his Dutch teammate failing to get on the end of a good cross.
Here goes Zenden again. Hasselbank is in the centre. Pulled it in behind him. Gronkia!
Well, Zenden's getting a little bit too much space now on that left-hand side. We talked about how well Warren Barton was defending against him, but really allowing the space for Zenden to exploit. And really just tries his luck first time, and Gronkia, well, it looked high and wide, but they've won a corner, Chelsea. This is a better period for them.
And he goes towards Desailly. It was well met by Hughes, I think it was, who got the header clear, and that will be a foul by Robert, according to referee D'Urso, and he's reaching for the dreaded back pocket again.
Well, Bobby Robson's absolutely furious because he really felt that the free kick was the other way, because, well, both players were at it. And there you can see, I think it's just the slippery surface that Gronka had a problem with, and Robert, well, Robson, knowing that it was a great situation for Newcastle, he's having a real go at the 4th official down there.
3 of his players on yellow cards now. And because of what was said, The ball is marched forward 10 yards.
D'Ursow's French is clearly good enough for him to know that there's been some dissent there.
Petit, an untidy layoff for him. Desai rescued him, really. Now Lasseau. Lampard. And Newcastle have conceded another corner, and they're wobbling a little bit at the moment.
That's the first time that we've seen Frank Lampard make one of those runs from midfield. And I think that really goes to show the domination that Chelsea are beginning to get in this game over the last 5 or 10 minutes.
Here's Zenden. Plenty of targets in the middle. Barton headed it clear. Petit. Now Zola. Goes in space on the right here. So took his time and then made an almighty hash of things.
Yeah, it hasn't been quite right, has it, for Chelsea? They've been fortunate to find themselves 1-0 ahead, but hasn't really been an effective performance, one that fans have seen bits and pieces, but certainly for Zenden, he really has been the one player on show for the home side that seems to have found his form very early.
Barton with the ball over the top for Amiobi, and it almost found him as well. "12 minutes of the half remaining. Emmanuel Petit. Let's remind you that on this channel on Wednesday night, another big game from Ewood Park. Blackburn Rovers against the champions Manchester United. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff. There's the Dane Gronkiar for Chelsea. Got that one all wrong.
That's poor, but Robbie Elliott actually just applauding the part that Robert played in, just really trying to funnel back and help his left back, and that's an area of the game that no doubt Newcastle would have worked hard coming into this game. They knew that their wide players would have to double back because the pace that Chelsea do possess is electrifying.
Elliott's long probing ball headed away by Gallas. Melchiot loses out. Lampard makes the challenge, and the referee's given a free kick against Acuna.
Just having a word with Robert again. Robert's going to have to be a little bit careful. His manager is perhaps going to have a few words with him, just calm him down. He's a little incensed really with his booking.
Desai's free kick over the head of Hasselbank and Dabizas. Barton. Newcastle with only one win in their last 14 away games in the Premiership. Well, that was some win. 3-1 at Leeds back in January. It's a very difficult start to the season for Bobby Robson's team. They play Sunderland and Middlesbrough, their north-east rivals, in quick succession, and then Manchester United and Arsenal. It's possibly not the opening fixtures that he would have chosen.
I think Bobby would have been relatively pleased with the opening 35 minutes, other than the goal they've conceded, because they've kept the ball reasonably well. Once or twice they perhaps could have done a little bit better in the attacking third, but up till then really Chelsea haven't created an awful lot against them.
Here's Acuna. Elliott did well. Amiobi in the middle. He tried to play it short instead to Bellamy, and Chelsea have it back. Good play by Melcher, and then equally determined tackling by Rob Lee. The key surely to Newcastle's season, Brian, is getting the likes of Alan Shearer and Carl Corp back. Alan Shearer, I was talking to him before the match, hopes he could even play a part next Sunday against Sunderland. Carl Corp, well, that looks serious. He had a knee injury in training in the week. He's going to have to go and see a specialist, and it could be a couple of months at least.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the injuries, and they're not just to fringe players. You know, Solano, Speed, Shearer, Court, Dyer, all players that perhaps would feature regularly in this Newcastle side. And you know, any team would really find it a blow to be without your best 5 or 6. But they have done pretty well, I think it's fair to say.
And they earn themselves a throw here. Lee. Hughes over to Dabizas. Barton gives it away. Lampard for Chelsea. Hasselbank's layoff was good. Zola's made an early run here. He was the intended target. Dabizas did well. Not once but twice. But the threat still present. Hasselbank.
Good defending once again from Dabizas. We've seen the experience of the likes of him and Barton making important tackles. Once again, you've got to say Chelsea struggling to find that fluency. Being a real bits and pieces performance.
Bit of head tennis between Zola and Melchior. Newcastle's throw. Robert possesses many skills. It looks as though the throw-in isn't particularly one of them.
He's had an interesting last 10 minutes, hasn't he?
Barton with the ball forward for Bellamy, but it's Chelsea back in possession. Lasso's clearance, Zenden couldn't collect it, came off Barton. Chelsea throw on the halfway line. Newcastle have failed to finish in the top 10 of the Premiership in each of the last 4 seasons. 11th twice, 13th twice, and that after being twice runners-up to Manchester United. The Newcastle fans have been very patient. Melchior got himself involved in a wrestling match there, and the free kick has gone against him, and indeed a yellow card.
Well, that's an interesting decision from Andy D'Urso, and just looking at really again that both players going for the ball. Well, work that one out if you can. Certainly decided that it would go in Newcastle's favour. It's a very difficult one to work out who was the perpetrator.
And in Mr. D'Urso's view, it was the Chelsea man, the first Chelsea player cautioned today. 3 already have gone into the referee's notebook from the visitors.
More importantly, it's round about Robert's range again. We've seen him have one effort from this type of area that Ed De Hoy very nearly spilled in Shea Given fashion, but we'll be possibly looking to get back on this.
Robert in a golden pair of football boots. You've got to be some player to wear them. Lines up the free kick. Elliott in close attendance. And once again, the wall did its job, but they have got a corner out of it. Making his way forward towards the near post area. It's a good header away by Petit. And Newcastle still with 4-5 even in the box. Well, one touch there could have been enough because Ed De Hoy had been slightly wrong-footed by the cross.
Well, it was 2 centre-halves, it was still in the box, it caused all the problems. It's a wonderful ball in from Robert. It had pace. And there you can see Dabizas very close indeed to converting it. Chelsea dropping a little bit deep when Robert got it onto his left foot.
So this is Zenden, the goal scorer. An embarrassing miskick there for Graham Lasso. He was off balance when he tried to make the clearance. Lee. Well, that's a challenge from behind by Lasso. It's got to be a free kick.
Very messy at times, isn't it, from Chelsea? They really have created their own problems at times. And with Robert going over to take this with his left foot, we can be certain that the likes of Dabazaz, Hughes will be in the box, Amiobi, Acuna, the right sort of delivery.
Good delivery. Desai's clearance. Lee hits it. So off target, it went into the top tier of the stand.
Well, you expect better, but defended the free kick particularly well, Chelsea. Desai, but once again, quite deep. This really wouldn't sit comfortably for Rob Lee.
Rob Lee, whose last 2 goals, strangely enough, have both been against Chelsea in the FA Cup 16 months ago and in the Premiership over 3 years ago. Clearance by Dabizas. Bellamy beaten to it by Desai. Lasso's long ball could cause a problem. Hasselbank just got caught in the traps. If he'd have been out a little bit quicker there, Newcastle would have had a problem.
Well, the problem he had was just really trying to stay on side, but once again the ball just skipping off what is still a greasy surface.
Dabizas going forward, plays a 1-2 off Mr. D'Urso. That's unusual. Petit has it back for Chelsea, and that's a wonderful ball for Hasselbank. Well, when you're the leading goal scorer in the whole of the Premiership, as he was last season, I guess you feel you're entitled to have a shot there, but he did have 2 teammates up in support, Brian.
Well, it's a wonderful ball from Petit. As this game has gone on in this first half, he really has grown in stature, and it was an ambitious attempt.
Clumsy challenge by Petit. The referee will add 3 minutes at the end of the half for stoppages. Desai stepping out from the back with great skill and determination, and then Hasselbank making a complete mess of it.
Well, it really has been a disappointing performance as far as Chelsea is concerned, and that really is an opportunity for Newcastle. I'm sure Bobby Robson will be saying at half-time, look, they haven't played well. There are opportunities here. Let's try and remain upbeat, confident.
Another free kick goes against Chelsea. Amiobi, Gallas wins it back, and a foul by the Newcastle player. Chelsea's free kick.
I wonder whether Amiobi's still feeling that injury. You know, he was a major doubt coming into this game today. Hasn't really moved as freely as we've seen him in the past.
Confirmation of the 3 minutes stoppage time. Lee for Newcastle, who trail 1-0 here. Dabizas. Acuna. Acedas on the right. And he's been a bit disappointing in that role so far.
Certainly not his natural role, and certainly Solano would have occupied that right-hand side.
It's been given away to Zenden. I must say Dabizas is doing a wonderful job at the back for Newcastle. The scoreline could have been worse from their point of view, if it not been for some great tackles and interceptions by him. Here's Gronkia. Tees it up for Zola. Oh, another wonderful piece of skill by Zenden. A shame for him that the ball had just gone over the line, but they're going to enjoy him here.
Well, it wasn't just as much the skill, but it's the strength really he showed against Warren Barton. We're led to believe that he also possesses a black belt, and showing wonderful strength there. And once again, fantastic skill.
Yes, you're right. I don't know whether Bobby Robson realised that when he threatened to throttle him for not joining Newcastle, but at the age of 68, I don't think it's too wise taking on a black belt judo holder. Lampard. Melchiot. Just kept in by Gronkiar. How significant could that be? Well, he's got a free kick. It was a late challenge by Elliott.
It's quite wild, wasn't it? And once again, the benefit of those wide areas. That's the one area that Chelsea have looked threatening whenever the ball has gone to either Gronkiar or Zenden.
Well, there are only seconds remaining before the half-time whistle. Newcastle will have to concentrate hard here. Petit knocks it in, and I tell you what, Marcel Desailly wasn't far away from making contact.
Well, that's as good a ball as you'll see. It really was a difficult ball for defenders to handle, goalkeepers to even attempt to come, and as it goes round the back, Desailly, he just needed a touch.
Amiobi, Bellamy in support, Desailly back defending. And I think there was a handball in there, was that?
Tell you what the amazing thing is, and Craig Bellamy's picked it out, the referee's assistant is all of about 2 yards away from this situation, and he hasn't flagged. And that's the view the referee's assistant has got, and he didn't put his flag up. But yeah, Andy D'Urso from 40 yards give it.
That whistle brings the first half to a close here at Stamford Bridge. A disastrous opening to the new season for Shay Given, who let slip an effort by Zenden, the Chelsea player scoring on his Premiership debut. Newcastle have come back well since, but at half-time here at the Bridge, it's Chelsea 1, Newcastle United 0.
Now our next pay-per-view match is live from Ewood Park on Wednesday night. It's Blackburn against Manchester United. If you haven't already ordered your special Premiership Plus season ticket, or you'd like to order this single match, the number to call is 08705 160 160. That's 08705 160 160. Chelsea leading at half-time at the Bridge. George, one of your favourite subjects is refereeing. What have you made of Andy D'Urso's performance so far?
I don't think he's done too bad. One of the criticisms last week was his lack of letting play continue and dragging the play back. Today, I think one of the bookings was bad. It was half a dozen, 1/6 of the other.
The Melchior one you're talking about?
Yeah, I thought that was very harsh.
There's another look at it.
Robert is going for a through ball, and both of them are tangling there. And how we can book Melchiot for that, I just can't understand.
Of course, Robert had already been booked, so if he'd gone the other way, he'd have been off on his debut.
Exactly, but it was just a tangle between the two players. I think he should just let the play continue.
But overall, you feel that Newcastle still have something to fight for, even if Chelsea find themselves in the box seat at the moment?
Yeah, and Newcastle, I think, best chances really is at set pieces. Chelsea look a little bit nervous and vulnerable at the set pieces.
Zenden has been the main man at Stamford Bridge in the first 45 minutes on his debut. Frank Lampard's contribution, can he do just a little bit more?
Yeah, well, he's going to have to sort of like change his style of play, because at West Ham, all the years he played there, he more or less always played in 3 central midfield players. Now he's playing in a 2 of 4, and he'll find he's going to have to do a lot of other things apart from getting forward in his play.
Few things will have gone through the mind of Shay Given during half-time. He's been one of Bobby Robson's best players over the past couple of years or so, and you were saying at the time you hate to see any goalkeeper experience that type of nightmare.
It's very sad, especially with their record away from home, in definitely London. And then you give a goal away as easily as that to a team that's, you know, its home record's excellent.
It's a London thing as far as Newcastle are concerned, as Chelsea reappear. No changes at half-time. I wonder if Claudio Ranieri would have been speaking his newly practised English. It's the same old story. They look good going forward, but at the back, 1 or 2 question marks. This man, Zenden, though, is going to be a major acquisition for Mr. Ranieri. He looks reasonably comfortable at the moment, George.
I would say he'd be delighted. He's 1-0 up. He knows he can play a lot better. He's probably trying to work on the system of play, this 4-4-2. I would like to see him probably get a bit more of the ball out to Gronshire on the right to see what he can do. If he could repeat what they're doing on the left, what a force it would be.
OK, let's rejoin our match commentators in West London, Brian Marwood and Alan Parry.
Chelsea get the second half underway in a season full of expectation for them. No less a person than Sir Alex Ferguson has predicted that they will be Manchester United's chief rivals for the league title, and that's quite a billing to live up to. Certainly in the first half, the new nature of their lineup with 4 new players hindered them, I think. They didn't really drop into a rhythm, and you wouldn't expect that in the early weeks. Certainly Claudio Ranieri didn't. And this game is still very much there for Newcastle to get back into. It's 15 years since Newcastle United won at Stamford Bridge, a 3-1 victory in November 1986. Hasselbank's cross, an early problem, and a corner for the home side.
Well, once again, it came with the problem of Warren Barton getting far too close to Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. It's a wonderful ball into the box, and young Aaron Hughes does extremely well there. Got eyes for Zola and also eyes for his positioning.
And given a full stretch to turn that one away from danger. Regained his place, of course, from Steve Harper in the final couple of months of last season, Shay Given. And will be furious with himself for the error that led to Zenden's goal. But certainly made up for it with that wonderful save from John Terry, who's now gone off, of course. Gallas on in his place. Otherwise, we have the same players that started this match. No changes during half-time. Robert knocks it long. There is Gallas, heading it straight down to the feet of Rob Lee. And now Barton, who attacked strongly down this right-hand side in the first half. A crowd of 42,000 at Stamford Bridge today. The biggest here since 1986, in a match in which Kenny Dalglish scored a goal and Liverpool won the league title. Chelsea lost 11 league games last season, just 3 of them here at Stamford Bridge, the other 8 on the road. And certainly their away form has to improve if they're to do what Sir Alex Ferguson has predicted.
Well, I think if Sir Alex had watched the first half, I think he would have been a little bit disappointed in his prediction, because certainly was a Chelsea side that really didn't have the fluency that you would be hoping to see. Of course, had the opportunity to get together as a group over the last 4 to 6 weeks in pre-season. We've had a lot of encouraging performances and results, other than losing at Queen's Park Rangers, but his side have failed to gel in that first half, Claudio Ranieri. And I'm sure that Bobby Robson would have been trying to instill a little bit more belief in his team to come out in the second half and think, the home side aren't doing particularly well, but we've got to show a little bit more confidence.
Here's Zenden, taken off him by Barton. Hasselbank will hit the ball from any kind of range, forced to lay it off to Gronkiar. Back in it goes towards Hasselbank, and Chelsea have another corner.
Oh, what a great opportunity that was to thread a quality ball into the box. Robbie Elliott had just covered around a little bit too far, but it was his clearance in the end that saved Newcastle.
The home fans have certainly taken to Zenden already. They stood and applauded him as he went over to retrieve the ball for this corner. Short to Zola. This is the kind of move that led to the goal, but not this time. Chelsea get a throw, to Bellamy's annoyance. He thought it came off the Chelsea man. In it goes towards Melchior, headed away by Amiobi. Lampard brings the ball down, lays it off to Petit. Difficult moments these for Newcastle. It goes back into the danger area again. Either Melchior or Hasselbank might have got a touch, but in fairness to Shola Amiobi, he did really well for Newcastle there.
There's certainly a lot to be asked of Newcastle. Certainly the 2 centre-halves. It was Aaron Hughes that was really just going back with Desai there. And there you can see the strength and the power of Desai and Melchior. It's a wonderful ball again from Petit. It's really one of those that tests defenders.
Elliott. Robert. Acuna. Zenden coming deep, Barton following him all the way. And Newcastle's pressure pays off. And again, good determined play, but the free kick's gone against Lee. I felt that was a harsh decision.
Well, it's a great shame because Rob Lee had worked tremendously hard to close Chelsea down. He very nearly got his rewards.
Well, any team managed by Bobby Robson has to work hard. If you don't show the same enthusiasm he shows as a granddad, then there's no place for you in his starting 11. Gallas gives it away. And a chance for Robert again, who's looked the brightest spark for Newcastle today. The man perhaps most likely to get them back into this game. And again, he's done brilliantly. And a wonderful ball pulled back. And that wasn't a bad effort. Rob Lee meeting the ball that had been cleared and just inches away from equalising.
Well, this is a fabulous run from Robert. We said that he is the obvious outlet for Newcastle. Some poor defending from Gallas and Melchior. And Acuna, just look at how close he is to converting once again a superb ball. And it's almost a measured strike from Rob Lee at the end, but it's about the wing play of Robert, and you can see that he's going to be a massive favourite on Tyneside. And Rob Lee's all his experience here. He tries to curl that to the left-hand side of De Hoy.
Robert playing it a little too long this time for Bellamy. Dabizas with another splendid clearance, but Petit onto it. Now Acuna, Lee. Elliott forward. Bellamy claiming he was fouled there by Gallas. And certainly Newcastle feel they've not had the benefit of the referee's decisions today.
Well, they've been a little bit unfortunate, but we talked about that belief, no doubt. Bobby Robson would have been trying to instill in his team at half-time. This hasn't been a great Chelsea performance, and they're very fortunate indeed that it's taken a slip from Shea Given. They find themselves 1-0 ahead, but as they say in football, 1-0 is never quite enough. Chelsea need that second goal to just give them that little bit of extra comfort.
Robert again takes on Melchior. Interception by Lasso. He's dispossessed by Acuna. Amiobi forward to Barton. Good little spell this for the visitors. Lee. Barton. Decided to knock it long instead. Bacedas just a little slow to react, but he's kept possession well. Not now. He's given away to Zenden, who has given away a corner. Can Newcastle build on this spell? Sorry,
there's not a huge amount of confidence running through this Chelsea team at the moment. If Newcastle to get back into the game, this is their best chance.
The Newcastle fans who've managed to get tickets for this game here today in the corner. This kick will be taken. Who's just kept it in play. Chelsea have pushed out now, so the ball into the middle wouldn't have paid dividends. And that's gone out. That's another Newcastle throw.
The sense of nervousness is transmitted to the fans now. Chelsea realise that they're having a bit of a tough period of it.
Bellamy will take on Gallas. There was a double deflection. Chelsea get the throw. Can hear, I'm sure, those Newcastle fans now responding to arguably their team's best period of the game here. Robert for them. Acuna back to the Frenchman. Held it up brilliantly. But always the danger with the pace now in this Chelsea team that they could be hit on the break here. But Barton stood his ground well, not for the first time today, and here he is again, having a splendid match. So too is Robert. Barton battling this time with Emmanuel Petit, and getting the free kick.
He seems to be everywhere at the moment, Warren Barton, and all his experience, been around Newcastle United a long time now, but their manager must be sensing something here. They have played very well since that half-time break, and they're getting stronger and stronger.
Lee's free kick, flicked on by Acuna.
Well, he's disappointed not to have hit the target with that, but they are encouraging signs. I just noticed that Chelsea seem to have 3 or 4 of their substitutes warming up. Just wonder whether the changes now are in Claudio Ranieri's mind. They haven't played particularly well through the course of this game.
Well, a wonderful atmosphere now. Gronkiart for Chelsea. They still lead 1-0. Fortunate to get it back, but did well. Lasso. And back to him from Zenden.
Well, it's all the experience of Rob Lee. Once again, just tracking back, helping out Warren Barton. Both of those two players can be very pleased with their performances in a black and white shirt this afternoon.
Gallas on the near post, Melchior on the far post, Petit and also Hasselbank in the centre. And Given had trouble keeping that out. Petit with a little flick on. Given knew where it was going and managed to do something about it.
Well, he really didn't look particularly comfortable. He can afford a smile at the end of it, but it's not a particularly comfortable claim, is it? And he's just delighted to see that ball go over the bar, but that, you can see, very nearly getting it totally wrong again.
Lampard's header, Given well placed this time. Robert.
Just huffed and puffed a bit, haven't they, Chelsea? I think they talked about them not finding that rhythm, not finding that pattern. It's very difficult when you've got this many talented individuals to get the right sort of formula, something that they were striving for last season and failed to do. And the question mark will be again with them this year. Can the likes of Petit, Zenden, Gronkiart, Zola, Hasselbank become a team in a true sense?
There's Mercedes, dispossessed by Petit. Zenden. Probably the first poor ball he's played today. Elliott. Given was very slow coming onto that, and was given Barton the job of sorting the problem out. He says, no, you do it.
Have it back.
Now, it's a good period of possession for Newcastle, but it's not hurting the opposition at the moment. Here's the man who has the capability of doing that. So just got across in front of him, good defending that. Amiobi closes down Zenden. Did well, Amiobi. Barton.
Chelsea get the ball back, and they're giving it away too cheaply. The coach must be absolutely furious at the moment, because this is not what he would be expecting, and certainly not what the fans are expecting.
Newcastle are playing some excellent football. Amiobi's header. Bellamy did well. And the strike takes it behind. Vera deflection for a corner.
Oh, it's wonderful skill from Robert again. I've got to say, he's going to be a massive favourite. But as this ball came down to him, he really did show wonderful technique just to slip the ball past one of the most experienced defenders in the world, Marcel Desailly.
Another Newcastle corner as The pressure grows on Chelsea. Their lead looking flimsy at the moment. But again, the danger for Newcastle of being hit on the break. Zenden, Gronkiar to his right. He's picked out Zola on the left. Brilliant skill from Zola. Well, Newcastle had to get man back quickly then. And it all stemmed really from their own corner. Here's Petit. Oh, great ball. Gronkiar. One corner at one end for Newcastle, Chelsea game one at the other.
Well, this is going to be the obvious threat as far as Chelsea are concerned right through the season. Because of their pace, they will cause problems on the counter-attack, but Zola just really couldn't quite find that extra pace to take him away in the box at a crucial area. But, well, these are the substitutions that were anticipated.
Corner flicked on dangerously. Well, it's been an intriguing game. Neither side has ever had a really long period of sustained pressure. Hasselbank. Wonderful ball for Zenden. The layoff to Zola. Good save by Given. If he'd let that one spill out, there would have been a problem.
Well, it was a great save, and we talked about that confidence building that Shea Given is going to require. That was an excellent take.
Amiobi now. Acuna. Robert, it was a bit short for him. Rousseau's tackle was questionable, but the referee saw nothing wrong with it. Forward to Hasselbank. If anything had resulted from that, I think Newcastle's players would have been furious, and possibly with justification.
Don't mind the players, but the manager and the coach, John Carver, were absolutely incensed, really. And while Graham Marcel may well have caught Robert, certainly the intent was there.
Petit did well. He was strong as Lee challenged him. Rousseau on to Zola. Now he's been caught. Tackles are getting fast and furious.
It's great closing down from Newcastle. And they've got some belief now. They feel that they can get something out of this football game.
Amiobi's floored by Desai's challenge right under the nose of the linesman.
Just to see if the referee takes further action against Desai. And it looks as if he's going to get his notebook out for the Chelsea skipper. It was a wild, wild lunge. Amiobi certainly wasn't going anywhere in that right-hand corner. What it does do, it puts unnecessary pressure on this Chelsea back four, because Robert is over the ball and he has delivered quality either from free kicks or corners.
So Desai will become the second Chelsea player cautioned today. Melchot was the first. 3 Newcastle names in Mr. Desai's notebook: Lee, Hughes and Robert. Delivery here, and so far today Robert's got most of them right, and Newcastle could be looking at an equaliser. Meantime, the delay is because Chelsea want to make their substitution, and no one seems very clear who's going on. I think one of the problems is when the sun is shining like this, you can't really see the numbers on these electronic scoreboards. It's an example of high tech that isn't always highly efficient in the end, and it's received with boos by the home crowd. It's Zenden who's coming off.
It's a strange one, because he has been one of Chelsea's better players, and perhaps tiredness from his midweek exertions for Holland against England. He also was, of course, troubled with that injury, but he doesn't look too disappointed about being brought off.
Jokanovic on in his place, the oldest player in Chelsea's squad. He was 33 last week. Robert hits it short, Lee hits it goalwards, and the deflection off Melchot means Newcastle have another corner.
They'll have to get themselves organised, Chelsea, because they've been at 6s and 7s for the best part of this game, especially since the interval.
There's a great ball in. Headed clear by Desai. Acuna pumps it back into the Chelsea box. Desai's clearance this time. Hasselbank. Desai keeps going forward. Great vision. Ronquillo lets it run on to Zola. Well, given the problem with it.
Well, that's absolutely incredible because it took an obvious deflection.
Robert. So has presented it straight to Amiobi. And he's hurt himself in his attempt to win the ball back.
Certainly an interesting phase of the game now. Chelsea really have struggled to cope with Newcastle in this second period. Newcastle perhaps need that little bit more belief, and you can't help thinking when you go through these players that aren't in this Newcastle lineup today, Solano, Speed, Shearer, Court, Dyer, you know, perhaps one or two of those players in this Newcastle lineup today who could well have been seeing a real shock. But there you can see them in the stand. Solano, Gary Speed, how they would have loved to have been playing this afternoon.
Just instructing Hasselbank to return the ball to Newcastle in case he had any second thoughts. Elliott. Robert. Elliott looked for the early ball for Bellamy. Melchiot has it back and finds Zola. Hasselbank makes an early run. It's a good ball for Ronquillo. Hasselbank comes to meet him on the near post. Ronquillo still going strong. And there is Hasselbank, and now Lampard. Good defending again, though, by Newcastle United.
Well, they've had a great desire to work as a team, Newcastle, and that's the one thing you've got to say Chelsea are missing. But once again, the obvious break, and it's the pace of Ronquillo on that right-hand side. That is a real threat. Whenever Newcastle have tried to throw one or two extra bodies forward, Chelsea have had that ability to pick them out with pace.
Well, Newcastle haven't won here in London since they beat Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park 4 years ago. It's a total of 24 matches in League and Cup without a win in the capital. 17 defeats in that time. But I tell you, the way they're playing today, you would not rule out them going home to the northeast with something.
Well, just looking at the substitutes bench for Newcastle, and the difficulty that Bobby Robson's got is if he wants to spark things up, predominantly their defenders on the bench. There's only Loire.
Earning a Chelsea corner.
Well, there's the man, Loire, and I think Bobby Robson just telling him once again to go and warm up. I'm sure that he'll be on very soon indeed. Very unpredictable.
Rather like the English summer weather. Good clearance by Dabizas there. Robert has done well, and he's got Bellamy in support and finds it. Been forced wide, and then really in his attempt to pick out Robert, the chance had been wasted.
Oh, what a great shame. It really was for Newcastle, because once again Robert throwing a clean pair of heels to Chelsea defenders. It's a real exciting talent.
Reasons that Robert has come to the Premiership is that he wants to become first choice in that left-wing position for the French national team. Robert Pires of Arsenal is ahead of him in that role at the moment. Zola, a little Italian for Chelsea, who lead 1-0. Tired sort of ball from Gianfranco Zola. Mercedes for Newcastle.
He's almost playing too deep, Zola, at the moment, Alan. When they are getting the ball into wide areas, he's good 10-15 yards away from the box, and Chelsea are going to threaten and try to get delivery into that area. They've only got one player, and that's Hasselbank.
Here's Lee. That's almost a good ball for Barton, but Desailly is a mighty presence, and he intercepted. Elliott wins it back. Zola is tiring, although the change is going to be made. It's nothing to do with Chelsea, it's Newcastle. And as we suspected, Lomana Tresor Lualua will come on to replace the equally colourfully named Shola Amiobi, who's not been able to train this week because of that injury. And with 20 minutes to go, makes way for Lualua.
Well, I think Newcastle may well just go with three up front now. I think Robert, Bellamy, Lualua will be the obvious targets for Newcastle when they get the ball at the back.
What a good tackle by Elliott to dispossess Gronkia. Well, the tackle perhaps rather better than the shot that followed it.
I think Newcastle would have been expecting to come into this game and find life quite difficult, but no doubt they'll be quite surprised with how ineffective Chelsea have been. And as the game has wore on, Newcastle have got stronger and stronger. Can they find that equaliser from somewhere?
Well, again, Chelsea have conceded the free kick. Lampard's foul. A quiet debut for the new man. Barton with the ball over the top, using Lualua's pace and possibly his trickery. You never quite know what's coming from him. Bit of breakdancing on the ball. Barton. Robert. Oh, well played. Lee. And still Newcastle look for a way through. Robert. Bellamy. And that's a corner. What a good spell they're having here.
Well, it's a brave performance. When you look at their injuries, the difficulties that they've had coming into this game, you're really hoping to start the season with the full complement. That hasn't happened in Newcastle, but they've given such a brave performance, and they really do deserve something out of this game.
Hasselbank gets there ahead of Acuna. Zola in support down the right. Ronquiel's over on the left flank. Hasselbank again. And the linesman spotted the offence rather than the referee there. Chelsea's free kick, foul by Dambizas.
Well, once again, a good break from Chelsea. We've talked about it, and that really will be one of their features of Chelsea's season this year. If they can keep clean sheets, if they can defend well, they've got the necessary pace to get forward.
Well, the home fans have gone noticeably quiet during most of this second half. But if Chelsea can get a second goal, the game might be over. Petit with the free kick. And again, Newcastle were quicker, sharper, braver perhaps, and first to the ball.
It was a great header from Robbie Elliott. It was an important header indeed, because he certainly had Jukanovic breathing down his neck. So very laboured, hasn't it, from Chelsea? They've been a little bit lacklustre.
So, judged to have kept it in, but not with the cross.
Yeah, it's very tired look about Chelsea. A lot of their players going in this last quarter, and it's going to be important now for Claudio Ranieri to get his substitutions right.
Robert, Bellamy. Good tackle by Gallas. I suppose in fairness to Chelsea, unlike Newcastle, they've only been playing pre-season matches, Ranieri's team, whereas Newcastle have been involved in the Intertoto Cup, so you might expect them to be more match fit, sharper, more competitive. The reverse ball for Barton. This is Dabizas. Acedas. Here he goes again, Lualua with the magic little skills. Jokanovic blocks him, free kick.
Never quite sure what he's going to do next, but he's won his side. A free kick, and Robert is coming over to take it once more. Certainly not lacking in confidence. This is a long way out.
It's indirect. Long debate here before I think Bacedas will tee it up for Robert. He has. Oh, and again, oh, he's missed it, and Acuña's on hand. They've got the goal. Their second half performance is deserved. Both the goals today have come from goalkeeping errors.
Well, absolutely richly deserved, Newcastle United. They really have battled well in the second half. Ed De Hoy, Mark Bosnich, who was going to play in goal for Chelsea today? Well, De Hoy got the nod ahead of Bosnich, and there you can see the fumble. He was very fortunate. In a similar fashion in the first half when Acuña very nearly got to a slip by the Dutchman. But this time he certainly did profit from the error from the Chelsea goalkeeper. And it's certainly what Newcastle have deserved.
Well, that's only the fourth goal that Clarence Acuña has ever scored for Newcastle, and they've never lost a game in which he has scored. That could be a happy omen. The Chilean international, in just his second season on Tyneside, has brought them level here, and the game is back in the balance intriguingly now for the final 13 minutes. Lampard for Chelsea. One back by Lasso. The goal scorer Acuña looking for Lualua. Desai got there first.
Well, Bobby Robson just urging his team now to show that same determination that they've shown for the best part of this game. This really has been a battling performance by his side. Absolutely decimated with injuries, but they really have given their manager everything. And there's one fella on the ball who will be mightily relieved, Shea Given, when he saw Clarence Acuña put that ball in the back of the net.
His opposite number, Ed De Hoy, will be concerned now. The young Italian Cudicini, first choice for most of last season. Mark Bosnich is here as well now. So this was not the day for Ed De Hoy to make a mistake as costly as that. And remember, he made an error in the first half that could equally have led to a goal. The Goalkeepers Union will tell you that you always remember goalkeepers' mistakes.
Well, let's not forget the part that Robert plays in this. It was a long way out. It was a full 30 yards. It may have done a little bit in the air, but you would really have expected a player of Ed De Hoy's experience to claim that comfortably.
Hasselbank to Zola. Good trickery and a good ball for Gronkiar. Right across the face of goal, but I think Given had it covered anyway.
Well, again, it's lack of numbers for Chelsea. Whenever they have had promising situations, and as that ball eventually comes out the Gronkiar, you've really got two players in the box, and that's Zola and Hasselbank. There isn't an awful lot of threat from anywhere else.
Newcastle believe they could go on and win this now, and why not? Their second half performance has been outstanding. Lualua. Bellamy. Robert.
You want to get the ball to this fella. He really has been a threat right through the afternoon, Robert.
Elliott. Gap suddenly opens up for him. Acuña. Well, that was a loose ball, and Hasselbank closing down the defender, but calm play by Hughes, getting it back to Given.
One thing Newcastle have to do is be very sensible in the way that they do attack, Alan, because you can't throw caution to the wind. They've got themselves back into the game. They mustn't chase this football match now. Let their football and the mistakes that Chelsea are making help them along.
10 minutes to go at Stamford Bridge, and it could be an exciting 10 minutes. Lasso. Lampard. Desai under pressure from Bellamy. Lost his footing as he cleared. Melchiot helps it on to Gronkiot. Melchiot again. And Lasso. Chelsea have responded, but has their response come too late? Desai. Petit. Lampard. The layoff by Melchiot to Jokanovic. Using the full width of the field now. The ball with Gronkiot. Zola into Hasselbank. Gronkiot's cross. Given always favourite to win that.
There's a neat build-up from Chelsea. Certainly one of their better moves in this second period, but again, lack of numbers in the box.
Now Jokanovic. Hasselbank's onside. Petit getting forward, so is Zola. Petit! Oh, wonderful defending. I think it was Barton who got his foot to the ball in the end. He's had an heroic game in Newcastle's defence.
Well, this is what I was talking about. Newcastle can't afford to go to sleep. Clearly Hasselbank was onside, and there's a run from Petit, but just look at Warren Barton, showing all his experience just to cover around. It's a fabulous ball into the danger area, almost inviting Petit to come on the end of it. A wonderful defending from Barton.
The goal scorer, Clarence Acuna, coming off before the corner is taken to be replaced by the defender Andy O'Brien. Bobby Robson wanted to hold on to what he's got, and what he's got at the moment is a point. O'Brien has also been out for a long time due to injury. Oh, brilliant reaction by Given in that crowd of players. If he'd have got that wrong, then Newcastle would have been in trouble again. Here's Zola. And sets it up for Jokanovic, who chose to play the ball forward and gets a corner.
Well, he's a little bit fortunate, Shea Given, because Melchiot had got in front of him. Certainly possesses that height advantage, Melchiot. Shea Given on the small side for goalkeepers. And this is the focus, this is the concentration that's required at the moment.
Gallas came to meet it near post. Given stretched for it, felt he was fouled, complains to the referee, but it'll all end up with a goal kick.
And I think that it's a very relieved Newcastle United goalkeeper at the moment. I don't think Desai's done an awful lot wrong there.
Well, the old enemy Sunderland lie in wait, of course, for Bobby Robson's team in a week's time. Before that, Troyes in that vital Intertoto Cup tie. They would take great heart from what's been a battling performance today, as long as they can hold on and keep the draw that is theirs at the moment. Although maybe their ambitions go higher than that. Robert. Bellamy. Offside, Loa.
Once again, though, the skill of Robert on that left-hand side really has been an interesting battle, him and Melchiot. But now Newcastle making further changes.
Andy Griffin's going to come on. He's been a substitute in most of the Intertoto Cup ties as the travelling Geordies give their team the support their performance has merited.
That's a sensible substitution. Placidas looked a little bit tired. Andy Griffin, a natural defender.
But here's Hasselbank! Well, he's the kind of guy who can have a quiet day, which he's had today, and then win a game in an instant. He almost did.
Well, this is Hasselbank at his explosive best. It's a terrific ball through to him, and he finds a little bit of room, and he pulls the trigger like he tends to do very early. He loves these opportunities, and well, he hasn't found himself away from Davies has on too many opportunities, but that time he just got half a yard.
As Griffin plays an excellent ball. Bellamy. Just run out of space. Goal kick. 5 minutes to go. Chelsea 1, Newcastle United 1. An always entertaining game. here at Stamford Bridge on a day which has seen a mixture of torrential rain, grey clouds, and is now ending the game anyway on sunshine.
There's still an awful lot of questions to be answered by this Chelsea side. Alex Ferguson has said that he feels they'll be challenging for the title, but I know this is one game. There's still an awful long way to go, but it hasn't really looked an effective Chelsea unit here this afternoon. They seem to have lacked that continuity as a team. No doubt have got undoubted abilities when you look at Zenden and Petit and Lampard, Gronkjaer, Hasselbank, Zola, but they need to really pull themselves together as a team to be a real threat in this Premiership this season.
O'Brien's clearance. Desai winning it back for Chelsea. Petit for them. Hasselbank. Zola. Good ball too. Lampard brushed aside. The referee has allowed the challenge from Lee, to the consternation of the home supporters. Here's Loa. Griffin. Loa. It's broken kindly there for Newcastle. Elliott. Ellamy's layoff. Robert trying to find a way through. In steps Desai to win it back. Hasselbank goes down under the challenge again. Mr. D'Urso says play on. Hasselbank is furious. Nothing different there. And now there will be a free kick against Chelsea.
Well, that's certainly a wild challenge from McGallas, and a very similar fashion to Desai's booking. Really, the Newcastle forward just nicking the ball away from Gallas, and he does indeed find himself in Mr. D'Urso's book.
Not the way he wanted to mark his debut.
Once again,
one man who'll be very nervous, Brian, about this free kick will be the goalkeeper, Ed De Hoy.
Well, he really has fired some great quality into the box, Robert, either from corners or free kicks, and if he can find the right sort of ball and the right sort of desire from his teammates, then Newcastle may well go away with 3 points rather than 1.
The referee saw a bit of over-the-top jostling for position going on. He's having a word with Bellamy, certainly. Ends with a handshake between him and Melchior. And Robert lines up the free kick again. De Hoy stretches and just got there this time.
That's another quality ball into that danger area. De Hoy, another player certainly affected by that slip. And won't have done his confidence too much good, but once again Newcastle coming on strong. A couple of minutes left. Can they force a winner?
Loa. Still going, but now he's been dispossessed by Hasselbank. Gronkjaer down the right. He's got no support at the moment, although it's arriving now in the middle. Well, the cheers, or appeals, I should say, from the crowd, I think were more in hope than expectation. That was never a penalty.
That was wonderful defending from Andy O'Brien. He found himself 1 against 1, and he had to be absolutely spot on with his challenge.
Now, Newcastle feel they should have had a free kick, which hasn't been given. Hasselbank, clearance again by Dabizas this time. Bellamy takes Newcastle forward. But the ball switching from one end to the other in rapid succession, now offside.
Well, this is a challenge from Andy O'Brien, and once again the pace of Gronkjaer taking him into a threatening area, and the Irishman just getting across in time. He's another player that really has been feeling the effects of injury, just working his way back into this Newcastle side.
Zola. Melchior. And back again to the Dutchman. Good interception, though. And Newcastle thought they could break them, but Petit in the right place to win it back for the home team. Here's Gallas. Jokanovic. There's going to be quite a lot of stoppage time. 4 minutes, in fact. So this game could have a final dramatic twist as Lasso crosses. That could have caused real embarrassment again for Shay Given. It was a cross, I'm sure.
Well, it was a very tired cross, wasn't it, from the England national. He just tried to force himself into an area. I'm sure Hasselbank was the player that he was aiming for, not the top corner, but he very nearly found the latter.
Barton. Lua with an excellent layoff. Griffin. Lee. Barton. Dispossessed by Lampard. Ball spins loose, however, to Bellamy. Robert on the left for Newcastle. Elliott. Now Dabizas.
Bobby Robson is furious with Dabizas just giving the ball away cheaply. He was hoping that he can maintain possession, just see out this game now.
Brian Lasso. Desai's clearance. Gronkiar with a layoff to Zola. This is Petit. On it goes to Gronkiar. The whistle's gone. I have to say Mr. Derso did this several times in the Charity Shield last week. He doesn't seem to be a referee that uses the advantage rule very often or very well.
Well, the Chelsea fans aren't particularly happy, but really was a bone-crunching tackle from Andy O'Brien. We talked about him just feeling his way back into first-team action. He's clearly late on the Frenchman Petit, but Gronkiar was a player that certainly would have found himself in good possession if the referee had allowed play to continue.
Another caution. Well, the Chelsea fans would far rather Mr. Derso had allowed play to go on then, I'm sure. Maybe they'll change their mind if they can do something special from this free kick. Hasselbank's going to take it. Straight at the wall. And Griffin got it clear. And again.
A good defender from Newcastle. They held a very good line indeed. And it's important that they maintain that concentration right through till the end. See this through because they really have deserved a point. I don't think anybody can have any arguments about that.
The final minute of stoppage time being played. And again, Newcastle defend the throw excellently. And Bobby Robson just wondering where all this extra time is coming from. As Dabizas gets it clear, straight to Petit, however. Hasselbank. Good tackle by Elliott. Robert, Bellamy, Elliott forward. Only Lua in the opposition half at the moment. We're playing out the final few seconds at Stamford Bridge. Petit, Jokanovic, Lampard, and now Zola. Once again, Newcastle a little bit more determined, and Barton's clearance should be enough to see them through to a hard and well-earned point here. The referee's had another look at his watch. And there is the final whistle. It'll be Newcastle United who'll feel a lot happier than the home team. Chelsea spent heavily. All 4 of their new players came into the side today at one stage or another. But it was Newcastle who'll take most of the plaudits, I believe, for this 1-1 draw. Shay Given relieved. Ed De Hoy disappointed. Both goalkeepers were at fault for the 2 goals of the game. A host of yellow cards as well in a very competitive and entertaining fixture that's been enjoyed by Chelsea's biggest crowd, remember, for some 15 years. Over 42,000 inside Stamford Bridge. Well, Shay Given must have been feeling awful in those first few minutes, 8 minutes gone, in fact, when he made that mistake letting the Zenden shot through his legs. He made a couple of fine saves after that, to be fair to him, but Ed de Hoy, well, he had no opportunity to atone for his error, which has led to Chelsea dropping 2 points in their opening home game of the season. And Brian, I think we'd all agree a draw was a fair result. Just a quick comment from you.
Yeah, I think it was. I think certainly Chelsea were disappointed. Newcastle will be absolutely delighted with that result, and you know, perhaps another 10 minutes they could have even snatched it.
Well, our reporter Johnny Gould has two of the key men in today's game. The man of the match from Newcastle United, Warren Barton, and the man who scored on his debut for Chelsea, Boudewijn Zenden.
Okay, Boudewijn Zenden, congratulations on an impressive debut and indeed capped with a goal.
Yeah, it was really a hard shot, but no, not at all. It bounced a lot of times before I got to the goalkeeper. I was a bit lucky there that it went in, but yeah, for me, I was happy with that one.
First game in the Premiership. What's the pace like? What's it different to in the Spanish game?
Well, like in the Spanish game, sometimes we go at 200 kilometers an hour, and then we go back to like 70, and then look for the gap and start all over again. And this is 90 minutes at 200 kilometers an hour, so that's the main difference.
Did the pace surprise you?
Yeah, of course. I heard a lot about it, and we've been training as well. And also the lads have been training a little bit longer than I did, and I tried to catch up with them as soon as possible.
Warren, congratulations on a hard-earned point after an early setback.
That's right, you know, obviously, as you said, it was a bit unfortunate for Shay. He's been outstanding for us all last season and also today, but full credit to the lads. You know, we've had a lot of injuries and we come back and we're well pleased with that. It's a tough place to come to. They've got stars all over the pitch and sitting on the bench, so we're well pleased with that.
A difficult first place to come to, particularly with Newcastle's record in London, but how do you think the team fared today?
Very well. I mean, I think everybody that watching, we competed well. It was a tough game. There are a lot of talented players, world-class players as well, and we're well pleased with that. As I said, there won't be too many teams that come here and get any points from Chelsea, and we're pleased with that with all the injuries that we've got.
Talking of impressive debuts on the Chelsea side, there was certainly one from Laurent Robert on your side.
Yeah, he's looked fantastic. He's looked sharp, and he'll get better as it goes on, and he's got a good understanding with Robbie Elliott, and we're well pleased with the way he's coming on. And we've got a few players to come back yet, but as I said, we're pleased with that. Great commitment and great effort, so good result.
Well, Warren, congratulations on being the Barclaycard Man of the Match. Boudewijn, would you like to present Warren with the Man of the Match award?
Yes, of course. Well, congratulations and good luck, and hopefully we can get the 3 points later on.
It's the closest I got to him today, as it happens. Well done. Thank you.
Okay.
So let's have a look at the story of the match then. Goals in 8 minutes and 77. Zenden giving Chelsea the lead. Acuna with the equaliser for Newcastle United. A host of yellow cards on both sides, but a hugely enjoyable match nonetheless. The next match on this channel, Blackburn against Manchester United, Wednesday night.